This is All About Home Construction, and here's your hosts, Terry Cannell Beck and Randy Blake.
That's right. Good morning, Randy.
Morning, Terry, and everybody out there.
That's it. Happy Saturday. It's all about home construction, man.
It is.
So, well, how you been?
Good.
Good.
Just estimating my life away.
That's the way we roll. All right, you gotta do the work to get the work.
It's a lot out there.
That's awesome. So, well, how was Veterans Day?
Well, had a great turnout.
Good.
I did right at 40 burgers and right at 27 hot dogs.
That's awesome.
And probably about, 35 brats.
Nice. Good. Well, thank you. VFW, of course, always coming through on a good meal. So thanks, man. That's awesome.
So it went real good, and the donations. Thank everybody for donations.
Sweet.
And it helped out a bunch.
Sweet. That's great. That's great. So, well, cool. Well, don't forget, of course, VFW. We're halfway through the month. You've got, though, a couple weeks, and then we'll have a breakfast again, and of course, Thanksgiving coming up. So, cool stuff. So, well, how did the time change treat you, buddy? You still are, because I've talked to a lot of people.
It really don't make any difference when you get up 5, 6 in the morning.
That's fair. Here, the reason I say that is I think I've had more conversations with people this year than anyone that said the time change is still, this many days and weeks later, it's still bothering us. So I just was worried about you, not getting up on time and getting those estimates done. So,
well, that's the reason we use an estimator. All contractors use them. Starters don't, but the point of it is they go anywhere from a certain cost all the way up to $2,600 a month for the estimating program.
Right.
You
got to do a lot of business to justify it. But at the same time, it saves you a lot of time.
Well, it takes into consideration what you need, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is it like if you plug in trim, okay, it includes the nails in it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, the only thing it doesn't do is, let's say, a small job.
Right.
Where you've got to go to building supply. And that's where a lot of time a contractor or even a sub or anybody loses. That's where they lose money, is going to the building supply.
Right, because you got to get there. You got to wait to get the product. You got to, even a fast trip there and back is time off the clock or time off the job.
That's it. And so, that gets expensive.
Yeah.
And travel time, especially with fuel prices when they were up high, really kills you.
Yeah, no, totally. I get that. And a lot of times those are like I have to have this little thing. Like, it's the ones that sneak up on you, I think, are the ones that hurt the most. Because, maybe you're going to the store to get this, sometimes just this $10 piece, right? But yet that $10 piece, it turns into, like you said, you got to drive there and you got to drive back. And the time that $10 piece runs up to $50, $100 real fast.
Yeah, and somebody's got to pay for that, or somebody's got to eat it.
Yeah,
that's just how it is, and the estimators takes that into consideration.
Yeah,
and another thing, a lot of estimators do now, and people don't think about it. What do you have in your office?
Right,
and so what you got in your office, like that plotter I got, that thing was $2,000.
Right.
Okay,
totally.
So that's a hard cost. It has to be absorbed by somebody.
Exactly. So, well, we have a caller on the air. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
How are you, Taz?
I'm just wonderful. How are you?
We are living the dream because it's a Saturday morning, and now you're calling, and it's made the dream better.
You're wonderful. So, what you got going on today? I know what I got going on today.
Well, that's the reason we wanted you to call in about what you had going on today.
Singing in the Gap. HS Green has graciously hosted his Hidden Happiness Beef Farm to host a fundraiser for the High Country caregivers. And I want to give a shout out to the VFW Post 7031 for pulling the pulled pork together for us and donating that for tonight's supper. We're also going to have like baked beans, coleslaw, bread, and homemade desserts. And it's $10 at the door just for the dinner, and enjoy some picking. HS calls it picking, so I'm assuming it's bluegrass. And then towards the end of the evening, we'll start auctioning off disaster relief and angel tree items. So the angel tree is for the High Country caregivers' children. And if folks don't know who the High Country caregivers are, they're a nonprofit that supports and provide resources for kinship care. It's mostly grandparents fostering their grandchildren.
Yeah.
And heaven forbid, if I have to take care of my nephew and nieces, I think I'll need the High Country caregivers.
Right?
But, yeah, it's a good cause, and the High Country caregivers, they have about 250 families across 5 counties. And as soon as Helene hit us, the next day they made contact with a good part of their family, like over 200 families, via phone, email, and text. And then afterwards, their staff went out and door knocked on the dozen or so folks they couldn't get a hold of. All of their families made it in okay. There's some heart-wrenching stories that Helene has left. They've left a couple of families homeless.
Wow.
One of the adult children and their spouse got washed away by the river. Somehow the children survived. But now the grand is one of the newest members of the High Country caregiver family. So, you know, they were able to outfit their families who are like on medical, oxygen, for example. They hardwired generators to their homes. Because even though we're experiencing a great power grid, because the utility linesmen did some amazing work up here, the ground is so unstable and the trees are so loose from the previous storm that the power grid is very unstable in Yancey, Mitchell, and Avery counties.
Sure.
So that backup power system is critical to keep these grands healthy, to take care of their grandchildren. So what we're auctioning off is dollars for fuel, like gasoline and kerosene. The kerosene, obviously, for portable heating units.
Right.
And then we're also, some of those dollars will go towards meat. So I don't know if you looked around the disaster relief centers. A lot of shelf-stable food.
Right.
But very little protein.
Exactly. No, you're right.
So now that we have moderately stable power generation going, we want to buy meats for these grands.
Totally. That's awesome.
So these kids can grow up big and strong.
So you said this was
that's the plan.
You said this is at Hidden Happiness Beef Farm, which is, for those that don't know, when you're heading down 421 from Watauga, into Wilkes, it's before the county line. You're in Watauga still.
We're past the truck pull off.
Exactly.
Second road to the right.
And there's signs and stuff.
There's a blue sign that says Chestnut Mountain Lane, and it points to and about a mile up the road. Now, as you go up the mountain, you're in Wilkes. And you'll see the beef farm right there.
Exactly. Yeah, that's cool.
It.
And what time is it starting up, Taz?
So HSA, he's going to open doors at 4. Dinner starts at 5:30. And there's a raffle going on. So they're going to raffle off a beautiful 22
Henry.
I saw that. Yeah. That's pretty nice looking.
It's gorgeous. Facebook doesn't like it when I posted the rifle, So they took that off the page, so I had to find another post to talk about tonight's evening.
Yeah, no, that's really cool, and you know, again, like it's all the proceeds going to a good cause, and to me, that's you know, so much. We always talk about how much the high country takes care of itself, and this is just one other way to do it, and get some fun out of it. I mean, you said $10 and you get music, and there's options for food, and there's an option to take home a prize. I mean, that's pretty sweet stuff on a Saturday night.
Oh, absolutely. And I do want to give a little teaser out. The Disabled American Veterans are standing up for the high country caregivers. And when you come out to the auction tonight, you'll hear more.
That's cool. That's awesome. Well, cool. So, yeah, I mean...
People not broken.
I love it, dude. I love it, Taz. So, it's cool stuff.
Well,
I appreciate your time and the opportunity to come on the radio again.
Hey, you know, it's open. It's an open invitation.
Oh, love you. It's all good.
Cool. Well, hopefully we'll see you over there, Taz, and hopefully all of our listeners will make it over there. You know, again, it's going to be a fairly decent day temperature wise. I mean, later on, we're gonna get up in close to 60 degrees. It's not going to be freezing cold. And it's going to be a sunny day, so it'd be a great day to get out and you know, 4:00, head on over to the Beef Army.
And it's for a good cause.
Yeah.
This is an indoor event.
Even better.
Not in the cold.
Even better. Yes. No, totally. I mean, that's the thing is like you can get out there and what else would you want to do on a Saturday night besides eat Randy steak? And he's not doing steak tonight, so.
No, I'm not.
Well, I love breaking bread with friends and family. And I love breaking bread with friends and family, especially if it's for a good cause.
That's awesome. Well, cool. Well, thanks, Taz. We'll remind the listeners again. So.
All righty. Thank you very much.
Hey, always, Taz. You be safe out there, and good luck, and thanks for the work you're doing. I know we don't, you know, we haven't talked about it a lot, but you're still doing quite a bit out there and helping people recover because it's not making the news because it's not fresh anymore, but we're still recovering.
Oh, yeah, we're in this for the long haul, and I just want to also give another shout out to the VFW post out in Wilkesboro. Man, they're raising funds and collecting building materials to rehab these flooded out homes.
Nice.
So what we're also looking for is a veteran and a materials list. So you can give me a call or send me a text, and I'll be happy to relay that information to them.
Sweet. Love it. Love it. And if you ever need to get in touch with Taz, we got the Facebook page all about home construction. We've got email all about home construction at Gmail. We'll get you in touch. We'll spread the word. So cool. Well, Taz, thank you so much.
Yep. Oh, you're so welcome. And again, thank you for the opportunity. You
Nice.
fellas have a great day.
Thanks, Taz.
Thank
you
you.
too. Be safe. We appreciate her calling in. Anyone else? 828-262-1567. We'll take a break. But hey, speaking of Deep Gap, Randy, Parkway School in Deep Gap.
Oh, yes. Matter of fact, for Veterans Day, they sent us a banner. The sixth grade students did, just like they did last year. And that was great. Thank y'all.
That's awesome. Awesome. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. The Boone VFW Post 7031 is looking at making improvements to their Veterans Memorial Wall, and you can help. Here's Chuck.
We could do engraved bricks to cover the memorial. It's in honor of the veterans who have served and some that have given their all for our country. And that's the one thing that we feel as the VFW that we can do to honor those who have come before and those who are even present today.
But Chuck, what do we have to do to participate?
You don't have to be a war veteran in order to be a part of this memorial. It's just that you served.
What is the cost?
That fee is only $50, but it's a lifetime investment.
If you would like to help participate by honoring a family member, a friend, or a loved one, you can contact the Boone VFW Post 7031 at 828-264-9570. They are on VFW Drive just off of State Farm Road here in Boone. Thank you for all that I've served. That's right. All about home construction here on WATA. And thanks to all of our listeners out there. And hey, don't forget the podcast, All About Home Construction. And you can come in and listen to this. If you're listening to us live on WATA Saturday mornings, you can go back and re-listen, especially get some information and, maybe share it with some friends. If you hear something cool you like, share it with people. And for those that are listening to the podcast, we appreciate you. And it means a lot to us. And also, don't forget, you can check out the Facebook page, All About Home Construction on Facebook. And we put some pictures up. We put some links up from time to time. So check that out. That's also a great way if you have a question and you're too shy to call in like Taz did. You're welcome to send us a Facebook message. And we talk to people all the time about different things. And all week long, it's like we get messages and things. And we appreciate that. And anytime we run into a listener, we appreciate that so much. And, of course, we also have the email at Gmail, the All About Home Construction, all one word there, All About Home Construction at Gmail, if you want to send us an email. And we'd love to get some more pictures out, now that things have kind of calmed down. Again, as we mentioned with Taz, we're still in it for the long haul. We're still recovering, but the adrenaline has calmed down some, and it's becoming more and more every day. So if you calming down and you find yourself with a few moments, we would love to get some pictures in too of just some of your what you've seen in the high country, in the mountains, right, in western North Carolina, so we can whether it's construction related or road related, whatever, it's still interesting for us. So we'd like to be part of that, and we'd again just send us some pictures, either email, Gmail, or the Facebook page. So it'd be cool stuff. But we appreciate Taz calling in and letting us know about the Hidden Happiness Bee Farm, the caregiver thing tonight, the singing on the mountain, and or picking. And
well, I got a big handout to the Scots. They're the ones doing the cooking, the barbecue.
Oh, and they made good barbecue. Was it back in the summer, wasn't it?
Yeah. We're going to start doing that at the same time every year.
Sweet.
That's what we're trying to do, is keep a menu going. Like when I was in Minnesota, they did the Italian dinner and got rave reviews for that because, we bought everything from Italy.
Right. That's awesome. Well, cool.
So, we're just a rock and roll kitchen.
Yeah.
Well, you know how big the kitchen is.
Yes. It works. So, Taz said something about Yancey County, and it made me wonder, what the they were one of the hardest hit as far as power outages and stuff. They still have about 50 people without power.
Wow. I think there's still some power out in Allegheny, I think.
I was curious on that one. I was thinking about Yancey because she mentioned it. So anyway, that's pretty cool. So.
Well, you got to commend the electric company. The one dragging their feet, as far as I'm concerned, is the Skyline on the cable.
Right.
We went a month without cable.
Okay. Yeah.
And
I think but I had it when others didn't, so I guess I got lucky on that one.
And even though I give them a hard time, the internet come back on within 2 days.
Right.
I hadn't quite figured that out. We got internet, but we couldn't get no cable.
Poor Randy can't watch his soap operas in the morning.
No, I like being a contractor. I like to watch the weather every day. Because here in the high country, that's important.
It is. Speaking of which, there's that big S word. That's potential. Don't panic. Don't buy the bread and milk yet. Calm down. But
it ain't gonna be that much.
There could be some S stuff coming at the end of the week here in the high country.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you, and I it's too far out.
We were supposed to get a little ice yesterday.
Some places apparently did. A couple
Beach
of the
Mountain, sure.
Yeah, I don't think it was a large amount, but I think it did technically count as ice.
Every morning my wife gets up. Did I tell you how I hate winter? I said, you grew up here. What's wrong with you?
Well, if you would redo the house insulation, you wouldn't have to worry about that. And I just was talking to a buddy that sits across from me on the radio show, and he was telling me about this new insulation.
Well, no. Yeah, I was trying to find it last week when we was talking on the show because, everybody's been used to RMAX or Blue Board. Blue Board,
right.
And that's always been a key in insulation. But the point of it is that Blue Board is so expensive. Mm-hmm. And each one has an application. Like Blue Board is made for underground. Mm-hmm. RMAX is made above the ground.
Right.
You can use Blue Board above ground, which we have. We've built houses where you have, we have to put the steel bracing in, and we've totally done the outside with Blue Board.
Right.
And then we come back and had Buck blow in with the bib system on the walls. Okay, so here we got a 2x4 wall with about an R25 in it.
Wow.
With the Blue Board. And but Blue Board has a real bad habit. Even though it's made for underground, it will allow insects to get into your house.
Right.
Because termites, ants, anything that's a boring critter will bore into it and use it and travel.
Because it's easy to try. It's easy for them to go through. I mean, I get it.
And they're protected.
Yep.
Like a termite, they build their little tracks and stuff. Well, there is no tracks in this, but my dad, when he lived at the coast, he decided to Blue Board outside of his house. Mm-hmm. And then he laid brick up. Wasn't nothing wrong with that, but he didn't take into consideration the termites.
Right.
So they fought termites for 20 years.
Well, that would make sense because you don't think about it because it's brick and you're not putting wood in. I get that.
So eventually what we did was we went around and we cut the Blue Board that he put to the ground off. Okay. Then we treated the inside.
Right.
And that stopped the termites. Now,
back in the day, and you still see it, but I feel like I don't see it like I used to, is that black, the 2-inch, 1.5 2 inch thick foam boards, the insulation board. Do you ever see those anymore?
No, I hadn't.
I feel like those are the old school foam, if you will, back in the 90s and before.
Could have been. But now the new product coming out is Halo.
Yeah, okay, so tell me about this. It's pretty cool.
And it's a graphite design. We actually bid a job. I know y'all have seen the community center up in Manny. Mm-hmm. And I never stopped in there to see how it was constructed, but it was out of concrete block with 4-inch cap blocks in between, so that gave it the grout joint.
That would make sense.
And it made it look good. And but we bid on a house, and the lady said, my house is cold, I want it insulated. So that's what we used to bid on it, was this Halo, because the 2-inch Halo was half the price of Blue Board.
Wow.
And insects don't travel through it.
Yeah.
And you can bury it, and it's use it for foundations. Okay.
And what's the R value?
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out, what it is. And I know the half-inch is only 5. Mm.
But I would imagine, graphite, I would imagine construction-wise it's very similar to like some kind of fiberglass. It's, like graphite would be crystallized like that. I think it would, it makes total sense that you can make some kind of insulation out of graphite.
Actually, it's not, because you can drive on it and it won't break.
That's cool. Well, and it's light too, right? Graphite's a fairly light powder. That's what we think about is powder, but on the pencil, it's the wood that's heavy. So graphite itself would be light, and I would imagine that would be a plus too for the, especially on the installation side of things.
Well, that's what I'm still trying to find the R value of it. But what I liked about it, is below ground you only need a R10.
Right.
Whether it's outside or inside, and which, let me rephrase that here. When you put even though you put a blue board or this product or do the outside of your CMU walls, you still have to have an R10 framed up on the inside.
Okay.
Okay. Now that is code. So the thing that we've talked about in other shows is ICF Foundations, which has an R33.
Right.
So you can shoot your lathing on, stucco it, and then you can hang your drywall on the inside of your wood or cabinets or whatever you want.
Which is the best part, right?
Yeah, which ICFs are expensive, but there's a trade-off between you're not adding the insulation and the framing to the inside.
Right. And that's not only a time trade-off, but a material trade-off as well. I mean, you're saving time and material. But
the trade-off is down the road, how you going to how it's going to pay dividends back to you because your R value and stuff like that.
Sure. Well, okay. So this rock wool, the Halo made me think. Of course, there's rock wool also. We've talked about that. Rock wool though is more of a traditional, I guess you would say, as far as how you install it. Insulation.
Yes, it's it doesn't come faced. It is a push and fit. Mm-hmm. About like a unfaced insulation.
Right.
Is you push it in the wall, it holds itself up. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The only difference in that is the R value. Well, not the R value. The R value is the same, but rock wool is a sound barrier.
Right.
And it does not hold water, and it does not mold. Right. But it is the difference in cost is 94 cents a square foot for bad insulation and $1.35 for rock wool.
Ooh, that's 30-40% higher.
It is, but there's a trade-off in it, and what I mean by trade-off is how much energy you're saving, because rock wool will not allow air to pass through it, so the dust particles will not fill it up and lose the R value.
Which is the problem with fiberglass.
That's right, because it will allow air to travel through it.
And then the old school blown-in stuff. Well, it all settles at the bottom of the...
Cellulose don't do that anymore, but it used to.
But it used to, yeah.
And but the greatest R value you can get out of cellulose is only 13.
Right.
See, code calls for 19.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get it in the wall.
Right.
But that's only in the high country, because once you get to like Tennessee, Virginia, places like that. Now, I'm speculating, okay?
Right.
Because the IBF is supposed to be the same wherever you go.
Right.
But it's not, because our values in Colorado is a big difference than it is in North Carolina.
Of course. Well, okay, so...
IBC, excuse me.
If you have an older house with cellulose, this Halo may be a good option then to come back and put on the inside, right?
Correct.
Like you could just come in and basically just resheet with that, and then
put your drywall
back up and go.
And then you could go with a 3/8 drywall instead of a 1/2 inch, because it's the rigidity of the product. I know that sounds a little aggressive, but in an older home, sometimes it's better to.
Right.
If you got aluminum siding on your old house, it's probably better to take the aluminum siding off and treat it from the outside. But if you've got wood siding, you don't want to lose all that wood. It might be easier to go from the inside. Yeah. Or like my house, like drilling the headers and foaming, and drilling corners and foaming that.
Would you, okay, let me ask this question first. When you go to, when you think about, adding insulation or adding products in general, right? Side or wall coverings, whatever. At what point do you worry about having too much weight?
You're really not going to have too much weight.
Because it sits on itself.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, think of this. Wood house weighs about 35 pounds a square foot. Brick house weighs about 55 pounds a square foot.
So, aside from losing the square footage, minimal square footage, but could you not just go over, say you got a paneling or drywall already up on an older house, could you not just go up with this
well, if you got
Halo and then just put in other words, would you have to take the drywall out? Except for, I guess you got electricity, you got to get outside still, but
it depends on the situation on what you got. Okay. An older home, nothing's cheap anymore. Nothing was cheap in the 90s when
Sure,
we were
sure.
these old homes, because the older homes, we never messed with the outside. We always did it from the inside.
Sure.
Now, like my house has the real wood paneling in it from
Yep.
64.
Yep.
Well, if we're careful, we can actually take it back off,
Right.
salvage
Pop
it,
back in.
re-insulate, and put it back on. And because what we did in my bathroom, I have a thermal camera, and I showed my wife. She said, "This bathroom's cold." I said, "I can show you where it's cold," and took that thermal camera
Yep.
out and shot the wall with it. And which I have to commend Buck Welborn, because he's the first person I ever seen have a thermal camera,
Right.
so he can go in the house and see what was going on in the walls. And so I bought myself one so I could see. And it really helps out, because it shows up, the different colors, the heat loss. If it shows up blue, that's moisture coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we did was we went with rock wool in the bathroom, because rock wool, my hot tub sits out on my deck that's about 10 foot away, and I could hear the hot tub running.
Yep.
And so with the rock wool,
And that messes up Randy's bath.
yeah, that's
when
right.
When he's got those bath bombs in and he's sipping on his wine glass in the bathtub, he does not want to hear the hot tub outside.
So, but it actually, I cannot hear the hot tub now.
That's great. That's great. Well, look, I got a house full of kids. You kidding me? If money was no option, I would have every room covered with rock wool.
But it is expensive, but there is a trade-off. Another thing about rock wool that bats don't do is rock wool can withstand temperatures up to 1,200 degrees.
So it's less of a fire hazard.
Correct. So that might give you the added time you need to get out of your house in case of a fire.
What's the insulation? Like fiberglass rather? What's
It doesn't have a fire value.
That's what I was just thinking. I didn't think it did at all. So.
And so, and that would be a good alternative in these places that are burning a lot. Over the years, we've talked about houses.
Right.
Ways to keep houses from catching on fire. And, we go with hardy plank. That's concrete, okay? Go with aluminum clad windows. Go with a metal roof. And so you have concrete, you have metal. Then the weak link on that is your vented soffit.
Right, which is where the cinders seem to get sucked up in.
Yes, from natural convection. So if you were to make a house a total foam house and insulate it from the plate all the way across the top, and then there would be no soffit vents, so everything would be protected from concrete and metal.
Right.
And it's still not going to be a sure thing.
It'd be an oven, though.
Yeah, with some of these firestorms that are coming through, it's unreal. Look how many states right now is on fire.
Well, and that's a lot of people's concern here in the high country too, because now as we get into wintertime, we're going to have a lot of dead fuel over the next year, 2 years, really.
Well, no, we still got dead stuff in the woods from
Yeah.
the straight line wind.
That's it. But I'm just saying, like for the next couple of years, especially, the risk of wildfires are probably going to be a lot higher than they've been, unless we get just the complete soakers all the time. But if it gets dry at all, it's not going to take much, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
No, it's not. And golly, everybody be careful. You know, remember the drought in the 90s when we had little pop-up fires here and there?
What was it? 2007, 2010, somewhere in there? We had that drought, and then when we were doing our show, we had all these fires a handful of years ago. We were talking about. So, it's not unheard of, and I was thinking about that not too long ago. I mean, Linville Gorge. How many times through the years do we talk about Linville Gorge fires?
We were working right across the mountain from that fire down in Marion.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some big fires in fairly recent memory. Anyway, I don't know how we got off on that, but yeah, no, it's always a plus. And look, anything you can do to make your house healthier and safer, then that's the goal, right? Like we want the safest and healthiest house we could get.
Yep.
It's just like anything else, though. Is you got to you have a budget, and that because we don't have unlimited money. At least we're not Randy.
I'm not. No,
You work for yourself. We all know that everyone who works for themselves are millionaires.
oh, I wish we was.
Yeah, that's a whole other discussion. It is funny when people are like, "Oh, you work for yourself. You got money." I probably got less money than you, but anyway.
Well, lately we've not been a lot coming in because we're doing all these estimates, and so everybody's really shopping. Mm-hmm. And that brings us to another story. We had a house catch on fire over here in Boone on Old Bristol Road.
Yeah.
And we helped take it down, but the insurance adjuster, he said he based his estimate on $18 an hour. And I'm going, so your estimate's at $18 an hour? Yeah, that's about all people's worth. And I'm going, well, that ain't right. What do you mean? I said, well, the rule of thumb is whatever you pay your employees, your time you pay your insurance and stuff is 2.5 times what the wage is.
Yeah.
Well, we can't really charge that either. But the point of it is, if I took that job on at $18 an hour, I would have lost money because I couldn't have paid my insurance.
Right.
I couldn't even pay some of my employees.
Yep. I gotta love it.
And then North Carolina decided to up everybody's liability insurance and truck insurance because what scares me is people don't think about it, but you got $25,000 on medical on your car insurance. Mm-hmm. All right, what if one of my employees driving my truck hit somebody, and $25,000 is nothing in medical?
No.
So I carry the same insurance that a tractor trailer does.
Okay.
And that's because of the medical part of it in case somebody does get hurt.
Nice. Yeah. No, I get it. Well, and again, that's an added cost of business. So.
And so so you got people out there paying $1,000 a year for insurance. That's just a guess. I can't remember how much my wife pays for our personal. But my insurance for my two vehicles is $3,100 a year.
Yep.
And that's a cost. That's a hard cost.
Exactly. Well, cool. Let's take another break, and we'll come right back right after this. Hey, don't forget, Singing in the Gap tonight in Deep Gap, as Taz mentioned earlier on the show. Starts up at 4 o'clock. Good barbecue and music, so good. Go by there. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Are you ready to level up your home construction game? Obviously, you've subscribed to All About Home Construction. Now we would like to ask you for some support. You can be like Dave, Bill, and Skipper and help support All About Home Construction. The links are in the show notes. That's right, All About Home Construction here on WATA. And again, thanks to all of our listeners out there, both on the radio and on the podcast. And share it with friends. Spread the word. We appreciate it.
Well, one thing I did find out when I was doing my research here is the paper insulation, blown-in insulation, will absorb up to 130% water.
Oh, I believe it. I mean, it's a sponge.
And
but 100% water is blocked.
That's a lot. Well, what got us into this morning was we was talking about block foundation.
Yeah, we never made it to block foundation.
No, we didn't. CMU walls was, even though if you pour solid, you're still going to get moisture to come through it because of the webs. And with a good thermal barrier on the outside, let's say you take asphalt, roll it on, stick this product on, then you still have to nail it.
Inside?
No, you can nail it on the outside.
Okay.
And you can shoot it on with a stud gun.
Okay.
Power actuated gun.
Right.
And
into the block.
Into the block, and that will stop that moisture from leaking in because
I'm with you.
What's causing the condensation to come in? Because the inside of the building.
Temperatures, right.
Yeah.
Temperatures link.
That's right.
Okay. And then that's going to add enough
to keep the temperature down
and
control it more.
Yeah, keep it up to code too.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to finish the inside of a basement, say, you could go out with that and probably be a little easier
You can even go on the inside and shoot fern strips
Well,
on
that's
it.
true. You just do that.
And so there you go. You've got an R20 in your block wall because there is no R value
Of block, right?
in concrete.
Yeah,
Well, 0.5.
yeah. Which is, yeah,
Nothing. But trying to keep the moisture out. And another thing that most people don't think about, now code addresses it, and that's you have to insulate below your slab.
which used to not be a thing, right?
No,
I
but
mean,
it is in the code, and I was going to do it anyhow because we were talking about the gray foam.
Yep.
It has borax in it, so it wasn't going to allow any insects to travel through it. But you're required to put that foam on the inside of the wall, but they want you to put a 45-degree bevel on it, so your concrete pours all the way up against it.
I'm with you. Yes.
So if you were to put 2-inch foam straight up, not put the bevel on it, your wall's going to set on top of it anyhow. Mm-hmm. But you still need to put something over top of it, like an adhesive, to glue it. Because if you use treated lumber, you're tight to the wall.
Right.
If you use spruce, you got to leave a
Leave
half-inch
that
air
gap, right?
Yeah.
So if you put in some kind of gasket, essentially,
Yeah. That'll stop anything because your concrete's going to pour up against it. Mm-hmm. Instead of what we've always done in the past is we take weather shield
yep,
and we cut it in strips, and we chalk a line all the way around it. So when we poured our concrete, that was our gasket for expansion. It
Right.
doesn't take much, but you have to have an expansion joint in there.
right. And then that's a big thing with concrete, and that's why you see basements crack.
Well, it always cracks in a 90-degree.
Yeah.
Where it turns. Okay. And not an inside 90, but an outside 90.
Yep.
All right. So in that situation, with that weather shield, you put like 3 layers in that corner so it expands.
Just to give a little extra room.
Expansion, yes. Yeah. And that will slow down the cracks.
Cool.
And then if you know where your walls are, you can cut a scarf joint in it to help the expansion.
Yeah. So, I guess cost-wise, this new Halo stuff would not be beneficial to put underneath concrete.
Yes, it would. You know, I would actually prefer doing that more because even though you've got a basement and the ground temperature is 57 degrees, what happens when you pour your concrete and the guy that's pouring it takes his rake to pick up the wire and he pokes a hole in the plastic?
Which happens just about every time.
Correct.
I mean, we don't realize it, but it happens way more.
So now we have a hole in it. So let's say this rain right here got underneath yours. So now that moisture is going to try to come up through that plastic and come up through your concrete. I know that's a big if, but the point of it is that sometime it's going to allow moisture to come through that little hole.
Well, and also if you're heating the basement, so if you're finishing it at all, 56 degrees is not. I mean, granted, it's not 40 degrees. I mean, it's nice to catch that thermal heat, but you're still going to be heating that downstairs.
That's right. So
and so if you put that insulation now, and it's actually, I mean, the ground's going to act as even an insulator too.
Yep.
And so by adding that insulation, it's going to keep that 56 degrees out, and then I guess what I'm trying to say is it'll be way more efficient. If you're going to heat that area.
Yeah, so the whole idea is the insulation is going to save you money down the road, even though it's going to cost you a little more up front.
And I'm a big fan of having living space in a basement if you can. Like, I don't know. To me, it's like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but to me, square footage wise, cost of square footage, basements is as cheap as you can get.
That's it.
Because you already have to do 50-75% of the stuff regardless. So if you do 75% of it and don't have a basement, so the added cost is only 25%.
Well, you know that's what I'm saying. Look at your trade-offs. What you think your trade-off is going to be.
No, I'm a big fan of living space in basements. You know what I mean? Like not.
Well, think of everybody around here had a garage,
right?
Okay, and then they turned into a room. Yeah,
which happens quite a bit.
And the only problem is that room is cold.
Yeah,
because there's only plastic underneath that concrete.
Yep.
And then you got the apron that goes outside your wall. So, you know, even me being Energy Star rated and, you know, green certified, like my wife wanted to keep the brick in the addition. We couldn't keep it on one side because there wasn't enough brick ties in the wall because it's going to fall down anyhow.
Yeah.
But on the side I did, I went ahead and drilled it, and we foamed it.
Right.
And but what I should have done was I should have took a half-inch saw or cut a half-inch scarf cut in it to break the thermal break from the outside of the house, because that's the cold spot in the room.
Oh, I see what
because
you're
the
saying.
thermal
Yeah.
comes through. Even though we foam behind it, it still transfers through the brick itself.
Yeah. Live and learn.
Well, yeah.
Still a lot better than it was.
Oh, gosh,
I
yeah.
mean, that's what I mean. Like, you're always improving. And if you don't learn, I mean, even when things go right, there's something to learn from. If you don't learn, I mean, that's the whole point, right? Is to keep getting bigger and better.
Well, and that room is only 16 by 18.
Okay.
But because of the way it's setting on the house, the way the windows, the size windows we put in the wintertime, we're gaining heat
Yeah.
from
you're
outside.
catching that
of the
southern sun. Yeah.
And
A passive solar effect.
correct. So, like, I got up this morning, and the room, it's a little cool out there, but the room was 67 degrees.
Yeah. Which is funny. Talking about passive solar, I had again, just going off a little topic here. I talked to our friend Landon Pennington the other day. Was talking to their family and talking about passive solar. Again, we need to get him back on the show.
Yeah, I would like to.
Yeah, but anyway, it's fun stuff. I mean, it's really cool, and hopefully it's some good information for some people, and just the fact that there's more options and more good options, I guess.
And the thing about it is, this product, you can buy this product locally, the Halo.
That's awesome. Yeah,
A New River Building Supply. They're the ones that carry it.
drive over it, bend it over, and it doesn't break in half, and looks like it'd be an easy installation product.
It is.
I mean,
That's the reason we
Yeah.
priced that house out with it.
it's just because Blue Board itself is easy to install compared to other products out there, and no, I love it, man. Love it. So cool. Well, the VFW, you guys, again, we're coming up on Thanksgiving in a few weeks. You guys are going to have the dinner.
Now, that is a free dinner.
That's awesome.
For anybody that doesn't have a place to go for a meal, come on and join us.
Sweet.
And Dave Faulkner's been doing it every year by himself
That's
since
cool.
I've been a member. And now he does fry his turkey, so.
Right. I like fried turkey.
Yeah.
Fried turkey's good. I would not fry turkey because I've seen too many horror shows.
Oh, he's a professional fryer.
Yeah.
Well, that's moisture. You got to dry your turkey out.
Oh, well. I don't like a dry turkey. I like a good moist turkey.
Well, he even brines his turkey.
Oh,
but the thing
okay.
about it is he dries it off.
All right.
One of the biggest problems with fried turkey is the moisture from the inside.
Inside.
That you don't take out.
Yep.
And
All right.
like at breakfast, that's every now and then I'll get some of them hash browns that are a little moist in it, and it'll blow the oil out of you.
Pop. Ow. It's like when Randy's making his bacon, frying it in the mornings. But hey, also don't forget though, Singing in the Gap in Deep Gap, Hidden Happiness Bee Farm. 4:00 is when they're opening the doors. 5:30 is when the food is. $10 for that, and money going to caregivers here in the High Country.
Yep.
The raffle out there for the Henry rifle.
Yep.
Even if you're not a rifle guy, you know the Henry rifles. So it's definitely cool, So get on out there and support that. We appreciate that. And well, I guess Randy, it's just another week here in the High Country. So
Yep.
I guess everything works out. We will see you next week. And hey, there's a Pioneers won last night, playoff games for round 2. So I'll be here. I'll make it next Saturday though. We'll be here.
All right.
All right, man. We'll take care, and we'll see you next time. Take it easy.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Again, we really appreciate you tuning in to another episode of All About Home Construction here on the podcast. We truly appreciate you joining us every week.
Absolutely. It's listeners like you that make this show possible and keeps us motivated to bring you the best home construction tips, insights, and stories.
Hey, so if you're enjoying this show, we would love for you to help us out and spread the word. Share this episode with a friend or on social media. Anyone who might find our tips and advice helpful.
That's right. And if you want to go the extra mile to support the show, consider becoming a patron. Your support helps us keep producing great content week after week.
Yeah, so just head on over to the link at the bottom and check out the different support options. Every little bit helps, and we've got some fun perks lined up for our patrons as well.
And thank you again for being part of All About Home Construction family. We can't wait to keep building with you.
That's right. Thanks a lot.
Thank y'all.